I'm Danielle Najarian, and we are at the Scares That Care charity weekend. I'm sitting here with with Kane Hodder. Kane, tell me about your journey as an actor.
There's a documentary coming out about my life. It's premiering in London at Fright Fest in the end of August, and then it'll be available. It's called Kane Hodder to Hell and Back, because part of my life was described accurately with those words. So,
I was going to say, can you share with us a little bit about what Hell and Back is like?
Mainly because of the burn injury I got. You know,
get out of here.
About 45% of my body, and I did not receive proper care, so it was a fucking nightmare. And
oh my God, I would never have known that. This guy has like muscles that you can see in the audience. I was watching the panel earlier today for the Friday the 13th panel, and I was like, this guy is so muscular, he's ripped. I would have never have known if you didn't say anything.
Yeah, I mean, it has been 40 years since the burn, so it's not as noticeable, but obviously you can see most of my upper body and part of my legs and stuff. That happened my first year in the stunt business, and I continued on in that business and continued doing fire stunts. So, So
wow, incredible! Because I do stunts. So now you're like totally ministering to me right now. Yeah. I'm an actress, but I like to do my own stunts. So now you're totally speaking to me. Maybe I shouldn't play with the fire like my mom and dad told me to do.
As long as you have a qualified person, it's fine. I thought I knew more than I did at the time, and
sometimes I think that too.
Yeah. I learned a big lesson, obviously, and ended up specializing in fire after it burned me. So
interesting.
Yeah, I've had 40 years in the stunt business. So
I was going to say, yeah. Are you now like a choreographer, a trainer of stunts?
Not trainer, but I'm a stunt coordinator and do that a lot. But most of my work now is just acting, which is great.
Really? What are you working on right now?
I just did an episode of a TV show called The Night Shift.
Nice.
It's on NBC.
Yeah.
I played a police officer in that and dealing with an unruly patient who was a criminal, and it's an interesting episode. So I just did that, and I did a comedy earlier this year, a horror comedy called An Accidental Zombie Named Ted. And I play a character who runs a factory that makes useful items out of discarded human skin. So it's
very
a
interesting
weird story, very funny, and my whole role is comedic, and I loved it.
You're very good. You're very good with improv. Your comedy skills are incredible. When I was watching you on the panel, I mean, this guy was like saving the day left and right. He was cracking jokes left and right. It was awesome.
Well, it's easy with Dash, you know. We always make for good panels together. Myself, CJ, and Dash. It's always entertaining. So
you guys were like the main, Friday the 13th guys.
Well, I mean, Steve was Jason in part 2. Okay. CJ was part 6. I was Jason in 7, 8, 9, and 10, and Tom was in 5. So
wow.
It's kind of a cool group to have together.
Yeah, you guys were really cool. You guys had a lot of fun on stage, and you're kind of like bantering off of each other and stuff like that. What was it that made you accept the role of Jason?
Well, I already knew that the character was huge around the world because there had been 6 films, and when I was suddenly afforded the opportunity of playing the character, I felt it was an honor. So I wanted to do everything I could to do it justice, and hopefully that's what I did.
Well, it sounds like you did, because you've been in more than just one, right?
Yeah, I did 4 in a row, and nobody else has done more than one. So yeah, I feel very fortunate. And plus, I did, the video game that just came out.
Oh yes, tell me about that.
All did the motion capture for Jason. So anything Jason does in the game, it's actually me doing those movements. So that's pretty cool too. So it's kind of like being back as the character, but
you're in spandex, right?
Yeah, I'm in spandex.
What's that like?
Well, I do look scary in spandex, I must say. I wouldn't say I look sexy. That's certainly the case.
I don't know. I mean, you're pretty muscular, if you ask me. You look like a bodybuilder.
Well, I like to try and stay in shape, and it's harder and harder as I get older.
Yeah,
so.
Tell me about it. I know.
Yeah.
I know. So do you have any plans for what you want to do next? Do you want to go on the road with this? I mean, other than just this convention, are you at any other conventions? What do you got going?
I like doing the conventions. I did 20 of them last year.
Oh my gosh!
I still
awesome.
did 7 films, I think. So I'm busy as ever, really. And
7 films. What other films were you working on?
Checkpoint with Goldberg, the wrestler. One called Death House with so many horror actors in it. That was a lot of fun. That's like
Todd's shaking his head.
Yeah.
Todd's a fan.
they call it the Expendables of horror because there's so many horror actors in it.
I love it.
It was a really good year. So
yeah, and this is a great convention. And so just the last question I wanted to ask you what brought you to Scares That Care convention to be a part of this?
Well, Joe approached me at the beginning and told me what his idea was, and the charity has benefited so many people that really needed the help that I was happy to be a part of something that, most conventions are just out to make money for themselves, and Joe and Scares That Care are not like that, so it's kind of nice to be involved with something like that and know, and in particular that Joe and the convention and the charity has helped burn survivors. So that's pretty close to my heart. So I'm just happy to be part of it.
And I'm all about survivors. If you survive anything, you're victorious.
Yes, I agree.
And that's
no matter
awesome.
what it is. So yeah.
Well, God bless you. Thank you so much for taking the time to meet with us and being an instrumental part of Friday the 13th, of also Scares That Care, and for being here and having a pure heart for this organization and for, what it is that you do as a performer, an actor, and a stuntman. And it sounds like you gave it 100% of you.
Well, I like to, because I know how it is to be in need of assistance, because when I got burned, I didn't have any health insurance, so made everything 1,000 times worse than it should have been. So, so I'm happy to be a part of it.
Yeah, and as long as we have people like yourself that are willing to stand up and say, hey, you know what? If you don't have the means, you don't have the way, whatever the case is, there's people that are here to help you, and that's awesome that you're one of those people. So I wish you all the best in your journey.
All right.
Thanks for taking the time to talk with me.
Thank you.
And we will see you guys in the next interview.